Peace, brothers and sisters in humanity. Today, I'm going to come and debate indirect. I'm not directly debating because he will never let you talk. All of them, I've debated a lot of people before. You can't have a word. You can't explain nothing. You can't even say 2-3 words and they cut you off and all that. So this is the best way to do it, okay? And see what makes sense. Now, back to Mohamed hijab. Mohamed hijab, he's got like this now. He's got a video here. London near part 32 hadith rejectors. He's got a bunch of people there. He's keeping giving them a dose of brainwashing, all right? And he's telling them about the hadith rejectors, all right? So that's a long video. So this is not going to be, I'm not going to do like a 2-hour video over this, all right? So I'm going to make a few small, short videos so people can listen part by part. It's better than a long video. So let's go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another
Wa
session
alaikum assalam wa
here
rahmatullahi
with the
wa
Londonier poet. And we're going to be covering something very important, which is the Qur'ani movement, the Qur'an alone movement, the Munkir as-Sunnah movement, the people who reject the Sunnah. And these people really are seen by Muslim people not to be actually Muslims at all, since the religion of it.
You see why I come back? Because him, God, Prophet Mohammed hijab, he's down here to judge people. He's got the basically the he's got the potion, or he's got the I don't know. He's God basically. He is God, and he's judging who's a Muslim, who's not. Okay. For instance, as I'm like, I can only practice the Quran in my life. I don't need anything else, all right? So my criteria is the Quran, all right? So what is their criteria? If it's not a Quran, it's something else, isn't it? It's the Quran. Apparently, it's the Quran and the Hadith, all right? If I don't follow the Hadith to them, I'm not a Muslim. So I'm something else, okay? I'm something else to them. So, okay, so who told them? What criteria? How did you base that? How did they base this? Do you know what I mean? Because in the Quran, it doesn't tell you that people that follow the Quran are not Muslims, okay? But they're judging that we are not Muslims, okay? Based on what? Because if their criteria is the Quran, so they couldn't come up with this. That's because their criteria is something else, not the Quran. That's why they come up with things like this. That's why we judge people. Okay? Let's carry on.
Really comprises of the Quran and the Sunnah. And so the Quran alone movement, I don't think any sect of Islam really considers these individuals as an actual, even a sect of Islam. But it's important for us because of the age.
No, you're right. We are not a sect of the Quran, Islam, because Islam has no sects. Okay? Islam has no sects. Islam is one. You're either a Muslim or you're not. Okay? I can't be a Muslim and something else. I can't. It's not in the Quran. Whatever he's saying is baseless. It's from written books by human beings, all right? That's their criteria, all right? Because if they know their Quran, all right, which is they don't, all right? They actually, if we are hadith rejectors, they are Quran rejectors. That's what we should call them, to be honest, because that's the name. Because they don't know nothing about their Quran, all right? Except from what they've been told since birth, okay? And then they're coming up with things outside the Quran to judge people, you know? Because when you go to the whole Quran doesn't just judge people that believe in the Quran that they're not Muslims, you see what I'm saying? But they do, you see. They're better than Allah. Even Allah doesn't judge us in the Quran as followers of the Quran only, as we're not believers, we're not. Even Allah, right, doesn't say that about us. But they do. So who's God here? But let Mohamed hijab tell us.
media and globalization and technological kind of being able to speak to people across the world, and therefore these shubuhat or misconceptions have increased. But we understand what this movement is all about. We know how to answer this movement from the Quran.
First of all, we are not a movement. We are not a movement. We're not supposed to be a movement. In the Quran, there's no movements. There's no movement. I'm not supposed to belong to any movement. The Quran tells you that. Because I'm going to be judged by myself. No one else is going to be judged with me. I won't have any witnesses. It's me and God. I don't need to belong to a group. So I feel like I'm like a brotherhood. And I don't need to feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Because if we are all Muslims, that comes automatically. Do you know what I mean? We're just good people, good human beings that get on in life and do whatever the hell they want. Do you know what I mean? Human beings don't judge people. We don't judge people. We don't. I'm not telling you, hey, this guy or whoever's Sunni or Shia or whoever, I'm not here to tell them that they're not Muslims. I'm not here to tell them that they're going to hell. I'm not. It's not up to me. I'm only here to wake them the hell up from these people, from these gods, these prophets.
Ironically enough for them. But before I do that, I wanted to actually read a hadith. Now this hadith is not Bukhari Muslim.
Wow. His first thing, alright? His first thing is a hadith. His first thing he has to say about the people that believe in the Quran, he gives them a hadith. If they don't believe in a hadith, why are you giving them a hadith? Because you're not giving him to them, giving him to them people that you're brainwashing. He's not giving it to me, that hadith. Do you know what I mean? Because to me, it's all man-written. It's all lies. It's all fake. It's so crap. It's evil to me. It's evil. It's pedophilia. It's bloodthirsty people. It's the Prophet in their hadith, right? The Prophet, who God says about him, he's got the best manners, all right? These people telling me that he actually married a 9-year-old, and he married a woman after killing her husband, and he has sex with all his wives. Apparently he's got 11 or so, 10, in one night without washing. A prophet that kills people, torture people. Is this the Quran? No, that's not the prophet in the Quran. That's your prophet. That's whoever it is you created there. That's not you. There's no way God would send a prophet like that. No way. All right? It's mad. You know what I mean? It's mad. He's brainwashing his law. He's not saying it to me because I'm laughing off. I'm laughing about every word he says. I'm sorry, but I am.
It's a very interesting one, and I'm not reading it as an evidence against them because I want someone, from this movement to take this hadith and say, well, actually, you're using these hadiths and so on. No, we're not using this as an evidence for you because the evidence is for them will be strictly from the Quran. I think they'll be sufficient, but it's just for our sake, our purposes, to see that this is actually a prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We mentioned that there were many prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We actually use this to evidence the veracity of the message of Islam, and this is one of them. The hadith states, يُوشَكُ أَنْ يَقْعُدُ الرَّجُلُ مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى إِرِكَتِهِ, that there will soon come a time the man, or the person, in this case is the man, but it's a general phrase, will be مُتَّكِئًا عَلَى أَرِكَتِهِ. He will be reclining on his sofa or couch or, a seated thing. يُحَدِّثُ بِحَدِيثٍ مِنْ حَدِيثِ فَيَقُولُ. So someone will speak to him of a hadith, of one of my hadiths, and so he will say, بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ, that between us and you is the kitab, the book of Allah, meaning the Quran, right?
Thank you. Now he brought a hadith that he said is actually a prophecy, right? A prophecy, because in their ideas, everyone believed in Sunnah. Everyone believed in Sunnah before, right? Before even the Sunnah was written, right? Before the Sunnah was written, people used to believe in all this Sunnah. They knew all this ahadith, right? This blood are like very, very tricky. It's evil. It's a devil. Just read the details, all right? So, before the Sunnah was written, all right, because it was spread everywhere, scattered everywhere. So someone has to travel a lot of countries to collect this Sunnah. So he wasn't famous, okay? Because he was famous, you don't have to go anywhere to collect it. Because everyone will know it. So everyone will use the Sunnah, like you call it, yeah, the Hadith. No, it's not Sunnah, it's Hadith, all right? In Arabic, Sunnah and Hadith have nothing to do with each other, or in Arabic, right? Because sometimes they go like, they go to people who can't speak Arabic, and they keep like basing the whole bloody argument about the language, about the Arabic language. Well, I can speak Arabic, I like you, probably better than you as well. Do you know what I mean? But you can't use that against me, all right? You can't use that against me because if the Hadith, like he's saying, all right. So before the Hadith was written, how did the Muslim live? How did the Muslim live? How did a normal Muslim who lives in a village, right, live? How did he live? How was he a Muslim when he didn't have the Sunnah, the Hadiths? Did he have the Hadiths? No, they didn't, because they were scattered. Someone had to go and travel all his life, apparently, yeah, to you, traveled all his life for years from continent to continent to gather the Sunnah. That's 300 years or 400 years after the Prophet died, all right? So, that guy in the village, could he got all these hadiths by himself in his village? No, he couldn't have. He couldn't have. So, was he living by the hadith or was he living by the Quran? Because obviously he didn't have the hadith. So, he was living by the Quran only. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you say, praying. How did people pray like you do before the hadith? How did people do zakat before the hadith? How did people do all that like you say, right? Zakat is giving money. The hadith, there wasn't hadith then, was it? So how did everyone knows how to live without the hadith? Right? And he's telling you this is a prophecy. It ain't a prophecy. Because people believed in the Quran, all his just the Quran, way before. One of them is the Prophet. And after him, his companions, the true companions, right, that your lot killed them, right, most of them, just used the Quran, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have, nothing was written. There is no book, there was no Bukhari then, you know what I mean? So they had the Quran, they practiced the Quran. So this prophecy was saying, it could be me killing people that believe in the Quran and come up with something like that. It will come the day that I'm going to tell someone a hadith and he's going to tell me, I don't believe in hadith. And then he's going to tell me, let's go to the Quran. I can write that today. It's just simple. If I'm going to do something terrible, right, I'm going to tell everyone, this guy is going to accuse me of doing something terrible. Is that a prophecy? It's not. Because I know what I've done. I know that I killed these people that I'm talking about. I'm trying to get rid of them. So I have to create hadiths to actually make my people, right, think that it's actually a prophecy from Prophet Mohammed. That's all it is. It's not a prophecy. It's not. Anyone can write that. There's no prophecies. A Prophet Muhammad never had prophecies, man. Don't know where you come in with these prophecies.
فما وجدنا فيه من حلال استحللناه. Whatever we find in it which is halal, we have made halal. وما وجدنا فيه من حرام حرمناه. And whatever we find in it from haram, we'll make haram. In other words, we will consider haram. Right? وإن ما حرم رسول الله مثل ما حرم الله. And this is now the Prophet giving his.
Astaghfirullah. Look at that hadith, right? Look at the hadith, really listen to it, man. If you don't know Arabic, right, don't worry about that. I've got your back, right? So he's saying, all right, this guy who said he doesn't believe in hadith, let's go to the Quran. A prophet said, let's go, بينكم وبين القرآن, between us is the Quran. Whatever is forbidden there is forbidden. Whatever is not forbidden is not forbidden. And he said, whatever the prophet, all right, allowed, or whatever the prophet prohibited, it's like God prohibited. So, it's not the other way around. It should be, whatever Allah prohibited, Muhammad prohibited. Because Muhammad gets his prophecy from God. So God should be first here, alright? In Arabic, God should be here first. You know what I mean? But no, it's the other way around. It's like God listening to Muhammad, not Muhammad listening to God. Right? That's the hadith he's talking about. The Prophet Muhammad is a partner. That's all it is. He's a partner.
Commentary, he says, however, wherever the Prophet has made halal or haram in this case, is as if Allah has made a haram. Meaning that we as Muslims don't believe in just one type of revelation. We believe in two.
Bang. You see, they don't even listen to their own hadiths. All right? They don't even listen and follow their own hadiths. All right? He's just read a hadith and he's got a prophecy. Yeah, that's he's saying. I'm not. Yeah. And what did he say? He said, that guy, the prophet said, it's only what's between you and us is the Quran. All right? The prophet just said it. The prophet said the Quran. Whatever is halal in the Quran is halal. Whatever is haram, which is forbidden, is forbidden. So, what does it mean? It means just between me and you, a Quran. All right? We only go to the Quran. But he's saying, no, it's not. All of a sudden, the Quran is not good enough. So all the halal, all right? All the halal in the Quran is not halal. And all the harams can be not haram. I don't know. I don't get this. It's just, I never got this, but I never get this. I will never get it because it just makes no sense. Absolutely no sense, all right? The only reason he said that, because there is a lot of haram, all right? They have a lot of haram outside the Quran, okay? So, what God allowed it to people, this lot made it haram, all right? That's a lot of them. Music, a woman can't show her hair, what do you call it? A woman that pluck her eyebrows or do that. That's a lot of them. A man who wears the trousers above his ankle, a man without a beard, a man without too many harams, all right? Too many harams. Living with these people is like hell, honestly. It's like you're already dead, right? Because you can't do anything. And the beauty of it, none of whatever they say is in the Quran. What the Prophet said between us, the Quran. It's the judge. He just said that hadith himself. But no, and then he turned against his own hadith. Because they believe in two. Look how he turned against his hadith.
In this case, is as if Allah has made a haram. Meaning that we as Muslims don't believe in just one type of revelation. We believe in two types of revelation. One type is the Quran itself, which is the most important type, undoubtedly. The most voracious type, undoubtedly. The most transmitted type, undoubtedly. And then you have the hadith. And the hadith is the difference between, let me ask this actually, before we continue. From our perspective, what is the...
Look, yeah, when you listen to him and you're Sunni, yeah, he's not talking to... He's brainwashing you, do you know what I mean? He's brainwashing you because what he just said is just contradicts everything. This is a second wahi, second revelation. I don't know. You have got no evidence, no leg to stand on in the Quran. Absolutely none, all right?
Difference between the Quran and the Hadith? It's a question.
So the Quran, this is the speech of Allah. It's a verbatim speech of Allah, whereas the Hadith, this is more like wisdom or knowledge, which is revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, and then he speaks with his own words.
Okay, great. And it's revealed by whom?
It's revealed from Allah. So when it comes to the Quran, this was revealed by Allah to Jibreel, and then Jibreel transmitted it to the Prophet ﷺ.
Okay, good. So now we're talking about the difference. The main difference here is that the Quran is the verbatim speech of God, all right, and that the Hadith is not the Hadith. It is what? It is the words of the Prophet, but it's something maybe which has been explained by the angel Gabriel. It is something potentially which has been elaborated, and the Prophet ﷺ puts it in his own words. Gabriel, it is something potentially which has been elaborated, and the Prophet ﷺ puts it in his own words. Alright, well, let me play maybe devil's advocate here. Someone says, well, what's really the difference? What is a hadith Qudsi first? What is a hadith Qudsi? Who knows what hadith Qudsi is? Yes.
Hadith Qudsi is something from Allah, but related in the words of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's not the verbatim word of Allah, but it is something from Allah in the words of the Prophet ﷺ.
Well, the thing is, with
what we know about from Allah to them, it's not the Prophet, right? Because he keeps saying the Prophet, and they don't understand what's the difference between a prophet and a messenger. I swear to you, to this day, right, this lot do not, right, differentiate between a prophet and a messenger, okay? And in the Quran is clear, right? When God is talking about revelation, he's talking to the messenger. He's talking about the messenger, right? And one God is talking about the prophet is something else. It's guidance, okay? It's nothing to do with the message. You understand? Whatever he's telling to his prophet in the Quran, right? That's not the message for us, to us. It's nothing to do with the deen, all right? It's to do with instructions. When he made a mistake, he told him he made a mistake. Do you understand? And how do we know how he told him? It's in the Quran. Everything is in the Quran. Yeah, because he told him before. No, but it's in the Quran. Where did you hear about it? In the Quran. But you're questioning it. Do you know what I mean? You're questioning it. You want to know what is being said, right? And you start making shit up just because God didn't say it in the Quran. When you say a messenger, all right? Al-wahy, revelations to the messenger, all right? Revelations, the Quran itself, the book, everything that's in it was given to the messenger, all right? Not the prophet. Okay? In the Quran, the prophet is separate from the messenger. But you do not know that. You really do not know that.
when the hadiths are mentioned, you'll find that Allah is speaking in the first person sometimes. You see, so it's still, you could call it the speech of Allah, but it's different to...
Okay, now this is mad. This is absolutely mad. So God sent a messenger, right? He sent him a message, okay? Right? And then that message became a book, okay? But apparently to them, there is other speeches of God, they're not in the Quran, okay? But they are a speech of God. But they are not in the Quran though, okay? So what are these? Is the hadiths. So the hadiths now, the Qudusi is saying is the speech of Allah, but it's in the hadith, right? What doesn't make sense to me, if that's the speech of God, right? That's not the Prophet's speech. Why didn't Mohamed, the Prophet, the messenger, write it down for us? Because it's so important. This is not his hadith, is it? This is not his speech. Still God's speech. That means he will have to write it down for us. Because if that speech is to do with our deen, right? We should know it. So why didn't he write it down for us like he did the Quran? And some people are going to come, no, he didn't write the Quran. Just stay there, man. You don't know nothing, man. Those people, I just tell them, please, just go back to your, plug yourself back. Go on. Do you understand? It just makes no sense. It's just rubbish. You see, rubbish. And just keep an eye on them people with him, yeah? They're like scared of him. It's like he's like God. It's like, I don't want to say anything, just I'll make a mistake. Look the way they actually talk. They like, their voice is different. Like they're frightened to make a mistake because God is watching them. God is going to tell them off, him. Or the Prophet, whatever you want to call him. But it's God. You know why I called him is God? Because he knows who's a Muslim, who's not. He goes into people's hearts, okay, and judge. That's why I call him God, right?
In what sense? Because the Hadith Qudsi, is a word for word what Allah is saying, rather than a hadith which is normal, which is not a word for word what Allah is saying. So Allah is transmitting something through the angel Gabriel, and that thing which is being transmitted through the angel Gabriel becomes the Quran if it's recited in a certain format and done a certain way. But
so, alright, so now we say, now you heard him, yeah? So, the Quran only, how do you know it's a revelation? Because it's said a certain way, right? It recited a certain way. That's the Quran. Because that's what they do, innit? Because they sing it, right? And the other one is not recited the same way. It's not said the same way. And it's still God's speech, but it's not the Quran. So God changes his speech, right? God changes his speech. He said it. I didn't, right? So Gabriel, when he brings the Quran to Mohammed, he starts singing it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. And then if it's not a revelation, he goes like, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, or I don't know, whatever. It just probably changes the language. Because if you know the Hadith Qudusi, there's words in the Hadith Qudusi, there isn't in the Quran, right? There isn't, right? There isn't. There's words in the Hadith Qudusi, the language, as a language, I'm talking about the language, right? It's not in the Quran. So God changes his words, his language. God changes because they change, because God, apparently to them, God moves around, you know what I'm saying? And we have to go to him to speak to him. We have to travel to speak to him. That's he's somewhere. Do you know what I mean? That's compared, you know, to these people, yeah? Not me, yeah? I'm still not telling him he's a kuffar, he's going to hell. No, I'm telling him he's distorting everything. I'm telling him to stop. Please stop. Please. You don't know what you're doing. You really don't. You really don't. And the people that are sitting there listening to him, they don't know what they're doing either. They think he knows, he has truth, and they're following him like he's because he judges people. He tells them, look, he makes them look stupid and things. To him, he's like the human worship. You know what I'm saying? Human worship. This guy knows because he can speak.
also be a Hadith Qudsi. How do we know which is which?
I guess the Prophet Sallallahu
One we sing and the other one we don't sing. Didn't you said that, didn't you? You said that. You said that. I didn't say that. You said that. One we can sing it, the other one we can't.
tell us, like, this isn't the Quran. Like, there are probably many things which Allah speaks, but not everything that Allah speaks is the Quran.
That's true,
yeah.
right? So this is an important point. There are many things which Allah speaks, but not everything that Allah speaks is the Quran, because the Quran is a subset of the speech of Allah. It is not the entirety of it. So the Quran is a subset of the speech of Allah. It's not the entirety of.
So what he's saying here, Allah is Arabic. That's what he's saying. Allah is an Arab. That's what he's saying, because apart from the Quran, his speech is outside the Quran is Arabic. Okay, he said it. I didn't say it. He didn't say it because they think Allah is an Arab who has a beard and he sits down. He's put his legs and he's got eyes. He's got you know what I mean. He's got hands. To them, God sits on a chair, right? And we have to fly to see him. You know what I mean? To them, it's him talking, not me, right? He's shooting himself to. You know what I mean? He's shooting himself. Might as well just.
Is the evidence from the Quran for that?
Oh, really?
Well, give me one evidence. There's many evidences actually.
Well, let's listen. What did he say?
It's not the entirety of it. And what is the evidence from the Quran for that? Well, give me one evidence. There's many evidences actually. Yes.
When Allah says, and we said to Musa, He doesn't then say what He said to Musa.
Well, yeah. So that when Allah spoke to Musa, takliman.
No, come on, man. Let's listen to that again. So, what was the question? Let's listen to the question, please.
It's your day. So the Quran is a subset of the speech of Allah. it's not the entirety of it. And what is the evidence from the Quran for that?
The question is, the Quran, you heard the question, didn't you? Yeah, the Quran is not a complete speech of Allah. It is part of it, right? But is there evidence from the Quran? Okay? I'm waiting for evidence. So one of them said,
Well, give me one evidence. There's many evidences, actually.
I'd love to hear them.
Yes.
Well, when Allah says, and we said to Musa, He doesn't then say what He said to Musa.
Well, yeah, so that when Allah spoke to Musa,
That's not evidence, is it? This is a verse about God speaking to Moses. Has that evidence that God, whatever you said, your question is just real?
and he spoke to him, we don't know what that is. It's not the Quran. It's not the Quran, right?
Of course it's not the Quran. The Quran was given to Muhammad. What the hell is that? The Quran was given to Muhammad, but this verse is in the Quran telling you that he spoke to him. What he spoke to him about, we don't know, because we don't need to know. I don't want to know, because if anything I need to know, God would have told me, because I need it. Do you understand? That's how the Quran, that's how God works. I'm not going to like dwell on it and like look for it. What did he say? Because that's what they do. When God doesn't say anything in the Quran about anything, they come up with a hadith and explain it. And God is calling it the unseen. This guy explained the unseen. They have hadiths about the unseen. And God said, you have to believe in the unseen. You don't have to know the story, just believe in it. You know what I'm saying? But this lot, no, they don't have the unseen because they've seen everything. Because apparently Prophet Mohammed knows everything. Do you know what I mean? And he told them. Not in the Quran, not in the Qudusi, in his speech, because it's confusing now, yeah? Because there's a hadith, right? That's what they call hadith. It's the Prophet's speech, right? And there is hadith Qudusi, is God's speech, not in the Quran, but you can't recite it the same, and you have to say it differently. And there's the Revelations, which is the God's speech that you can sing, okay? And you can use it to pray. That's what he said, right? Please tell me if I'm misunderstanding.
So previous books is a good example of that. So that is a speech of God. When Allah spoke, kallama, He spoke to Musa. That is a speech of Allah, which is not the Quran. What other thing which is the speech of Allah?
What was the language of Moses? God clearly in the Quran says, right, we sent messages to the Prophet own tongue, own language. So whatever Moses was talking then, God spoke to him with his language, with Moses' language, right? God hasn't got a specific language, has he? Has he? God is God. Doesn't have specific language. Those people spoke a certain language. Moses was one of them, so God must have spoke to Moses with his language. Not Arabic, he wasn't an Arab. And one thing here, I've got to stop this soon because I've got to make it part. This is funny. It's only 7 minutes, right? But this is going to take me about 7 parts or something, I swear. Definitely, 100%. So, Moses, when God spoke to him, where was Moses? On earth, yeah? Running around on his legs. So God spoke to him. But Muhammad, when God wanted to speak to him, he had to fly on a horse. Right? It's not me, yeah? It's not me. That's the Quran saying. What the Quran saying, God spoke to Moses when he was on earth. Spoke to him, right? That's the Quran, right? But your hadith saying, but because Muhammad is so special, he had to send him a limousine, right? Because he invited him. Don't forget, if he invited him. So he had to send him a limousine, or as a horse, yeah? To fly him to God, wherever God is. Because he had to get closer to God. Because wherever Muhammad went, no human or an angel being except the Prophet Muhammad, right? See why God said don't split into sects, because that's what happens. Because you lose your way, you go into You be do like in it, really. Alright, peace guys. Come back part 2 soon.